And now, I'd like to introduce to you the lead researchers, the thing I just mentioned, the lead researchers of this year's major research report entitled Promoting Wellbeing in the Digital World. Please join me in welcoming Chris Carbone and Kara Sundby of Kantar, who will take us through their findings. Cheers.
Good morning. Excited to be here. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you to all of you for spending time with us today. My name is Chris Carbone. I'm here joined, as Stephen said, by my colleague, Kara Sundby. We are from Kantar. We're very excited to be here to help kick off FOSI 2024 and to launch an important piece of research that we have titled Promoting Wellbeing in a Digital World. Well-being is a timeless topic. As Stephen has just told us, it is also a very timely topic, one that continues to rise in importance and prominence in the minds of the public, and it's being reshaped by the digital era we're living in. It's on the minds of people to such a degree that when Kara and I and our teams are working with businesses, we tell them that health and well-being is no longer a singular industry or category, but really it's a benefit that people are looking for from all of their consumer touch points. So no matter if they are an automotive company, a financial services company, a tech company, we urge them to think of themselves as a health and well-being company. And it is within this context that we're living today. And in the time Kara and I have with you, we'll be talking about well-being in the way that it connects to digital life in the minds of both parents and teens. We'll share some of the key insights that were uncovered in this study, but we urge you, as Stephen said, to look at the report, the full report, which has now been posted on the FOSI website, so you can really dive in. And of course, this presentation will set the stage for what is just an amazing set of panelists that will be coming up later this morning. The study we'll be speaking about was conducted by Kantar on behalf of FOSI, and it was sponsored by Google. It explores how parents and teens view their overall well-being and the role, both positive and negative, that digital technology plays in how people feel. The study included both qualitative and quantitative components. It was conducted in the United States, in Brazil, and in Germany among parents and teens aged 13 to 17. So let's dive in to some of what we learned as we went through the research. We began our analysis of well-being in the digital world by asking parents and teens to conceptualize well-being. What was in, what was out, what was relevant to the way that they were experiencing well-being. And what the data tells us is that well-being is not a singular concept or idea, but instead it's shaped by a constellation of factors: physical, mental, financial, spiritual, social, and yes, digital factors as well. Parents and teens agree on that, and they also agree that physical and mental factors are the two biggest components to the way they experience well-being. But beyond that, their opinions begin to diverge. What we see is that teens place greater emphasis on social health than their parents, and parents place greater emphasis on financial health. Makes sense. Importantly, for this audience and this study, we see that teens also prioritize their digital well-being more than parents. You can see parents view it as the least influential factor to their own overall well-being. We also asked respondents to tell us what their top 3 well-being concerns were related to teens' online activity. And parents and teens both keyed in on topics related to online safety. The most mentioned concerns for teens' well-being were getting scammed or being a victim of fraud, negative interactions with strangers, and bullying, right? These concerns related to online safety came out stronger in our data than some of the things we see in the media often around body image or tech addiction, for example. And the data shows also that concerns are just one part of the story. Parents and teens in the US, Brazil, and Germany also clearly recognize the positive role that being online plays in supporting social health and overall teen well-being. In fact, 41% of parents and 44% of teens noted that connecting with peers was the most significant benefit to teens' well-being that comes from being online. In talking to parents and teens in our qualitative sessions, this rang true, right? We heard parents talk about the sense of belonging that their teens get from being online and the important connections that they create. For example, one person talked about her daughter and said she feels like she belongs, her friends are all there too, there's a sense of togetherness. But it does come at a cost. And what we found is that one of the primary costs is sleep, actually. When asked what aspects of teens' well-being are most negatively impacted by devices in digital life, sleep quality was the clear choice among both parents and teens. Among adults, 48% of Brazilian parents, 44% of US parents, and 38% of German parents said sleep quality took the biggest hit from online life, and teen sentiment was closely mirrored to that. Again, what's interesting here is that the impacts on sleep came through much stronger than other topics like mood, emotional health, motivation, that are often the focus of reports on the impact of teen internet use. And just to round out this slide, we should note that even as folks acknowledged challenges such as sleep quality, no matter how we ask the question, parents and teens repeatedly spoke about the positives. So we asked what the top aspects of teen well-being are that are positively impacted by digital life and tech and devices, and there were strong responses about the way digital life benefits knowledge, creativity, self-expression, and the development of friendship and even social skills. So what I hope is coming through as we look at these first few slides is that parents and teens have a highly pragmatic view of how digital life intersects with their well-being. They know there are risks and valid concerns to be aware of, and at the same time, they also report that teens experience real benefits from the relationships that they form and maintain online, the information they gain access to, right? And also the way that digital technologies allow them to be creative. So when we asked about the totality of their experience, both positive and negative, the message was clear. Teens in all three countries self-report more positive than negative experiences from spending time online. In fact, nearly 9 in 10 teens say that they always or often experience a positive situation from being online, which is markedly higher than those reporting a negative situation. And the most common negative situation teens self-report might not be what you expect. And I'd venture to guess it's actually something that we, as adults, have experienced as well. Our data showed it was the feeling, the need to check notifications. So with 38% of US teens, 49% of Brazilian teens, and 32% of German teens saying they always or often feel this need to check notifications. Now, is it concerning that a large share of teens feel this way, or that teens experience any kind of negative interaction online? Of course, that is concerning. But I think it's also reassuring that we already know that teens experience more positive experiences online than negative ones. And so as a researcher and as a parent myself, I think the question we're left to wrestle with is, how can we design policies, practices, products, and services that dramatically increase the share of positive experiences to negative experiences? Now we're going to dive into this question of responsibility. Who is responsible for digital well-being? We ask parents and teens who should be teaching or empowering teens when it comes to digital well-being. Should it be parents? Should teens be on their own or be partners in this? Should it be up to schools, tech companies, the government, the medical community? And what we found is that both parents and teens see digital well-being as a family responsibility. If you take a look at the visual here across the countries, parents and teens agree that they are the top 2 actors responsible for promoting and teaching teens about digital well-being. This belief underscores the importance of parental involvement in shaping teens' overall health and well-being. And interestingly, we see a key difference emerge in the teens' perception of personal responsibility here on this topic. Teens express a much stronger sense of personal accountability for managing their own digital well-being than their parents do, or their parents even recognize. So in the US, 75% of teens believe they're primarily responsible for their digital well-being, compared to 58% of parents who share the same view. So we may not be giving teens enough credit. And there are similar gaps in Brazil and Germany. This sentiment was also expressed in our qualitative research. We had one young man say, ultimately, I think we ourselves are responsible because we're the ones making the decisions. We also wanted to know, how often do families talk about digital well-being? And as it turns out, most parents and teens have frequent conversations about how digital life impacts their overall well-being. In the US, 62% of parents report having these conversations either weekly or daily. That figure rises to 80% in Brazil, and it's about half in Germany. So this shared belief that parents and teens are primarily responsible that we talked about on the previous slide, coupled with this finding that they frequently talk about digital habits, shows how important the teamwork is between parents and teens as they collaborate to keep teens safe and healthy online. And importantly, we learned that in these conversations, parents aim to empower rather than to control their teens. They encourage balance between online and offline activities. They talk about the benefits and the drawbacks of digital spaces. And they try to guide them to be discerning and savvy users of the digital world. So with that, I'll pass to Kara to take us through the rest of the presentation.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So I'll now share our learnings and our perspective on what comes next. So we know that families view themselves as primarily responsible. We know that household conversations about digital well-being are frequent. We also learned that there is openness for additional help. So when we ask parents and families how they would feel if tech companies or governments, how would they would feel if tech companies and governments took a more active role in promoting and supporting teens' digital well-being, the message was clear. Parents and teens in all 3 countries welcome even more involvement from tech companies over governments. This is, as you'll see, particularly true in Brazil, where 87% of parents express very or somewhat positive views on increased support from tech companies, compared to 72% who feel similarly about government. In the US and Germany, we see similar preferences, and we also heard this qualitatively from respondents. We have a quote from a German parent here on the slide saying, "Companies who produce the devices, services, and apps, they know best what they are offering and can take on a bigger role." We also wanted to learn about how open families are to using features or tools that support digital well-being. And again, across all 3 countries, parents seem most interested in tools that focus on online safety, things like default privacy settings to protect teens' personal information, age limits to accessing content, and literacy programs to teach teens how to better identify harmful content. These findings line up with what Chris shared earlier about top parental concerns, which, if you recall, are scams and bad actors. We also learned that parents aren't just open to tools and settings related to online safety, however. They're also open to trying features that actively support and enhance digital well-being. So these are things like reminders for teens to know when they need to take a break, and content designed to positively impact their mood or behaviors. And when we look at teens' responses to this same question, we see that teens are generally aligned with their parents. So teens do indicate more openness to trying certain tools than their parents. They're more interested in digital apps that can help them practice communication skills. They're also interested in sites or apps that could help them learn about digital well-being to a greater degree than their parents are. And this is worth noting as well, is that teens' interest for improving their communication skills and learning about their digital well-being lines up nicely with what we shared earlier about these components of well-being. Teens view social and digital health as key components of their overall well-being. Add that to the positive sentiments that about tech company involvement in supporting their digital well-being, and we can suggest that tech companies have an opportunity here to create tools and features that better support teens' social and digital well-being. So the learnings from this research point us towards several implications and actions for parents, for industry, and for policymakers. We will go through a few of them here, but please know we've referenced the online report a couple of times. There's plenty more in the online report. We'll focus on just 3 key implications for this session today. And we'll start with parents. Parents can empower teens regarding the positives of being online. The study shows that parents see both the concerns like scams and the benefits like social connection and learning to being online. To empower teens toward more positive online experiences and a more sound approach to digital well-being, parents should balance conversations about the risks with frequent discussions about the benefits. Parents should acknowledge the positives and the drawbacks and make it clear that they support online activities that enhance their teens' overall digital well-being. For industry, this is a chance to also champion digital well-being. What does this mean? So parents and teens in all 3 countries told us they would welcome even more involvement from tech companies in supporting teens' digital well-being. This means not just creating new products, but also building on and amplifying current efforts to educate and empower families, make digital well-being the core of innovation and strategy, or risk being left behind by the companies that do. And finally, for policymakers, this report offers guidance. First and foremost, it suggests that policymakers should rethink bans. They should think beyond bans. Young people are having positive online experiences. They report real benefits to their well-being. This is an important finding to consider and highlights a need for more thoughtful and nuanced policy, carefully considered restrictions, rather than blanket bans. So that concludes our presentation of the 2024 FOSI research report. We want to thank FOSI for the partnership and Google for the sponsorship of this study, and we look forward to hearing the reactions and the observations of the panelists. Thank you.